The Division 2 has a brand new builder. Right, if you've been watching me for some time, you will recognise this website, the GitHub thing. I have no idea how to even... The MX Watt builder for Division 2. I've used it for showcasing my builds for quite some time now. And the main reason I've done it is because it shows the individual roles of the individual pieces with everything involved. It's really easy and really simple to use. However, one of my biggest complaints with this builder has been that when we actually go into the damage calculations, it's wrong. Simply just because it doesn't take glass cannon into effect, vigilance, strikers. We can even there's no way to even turn on chameleon's buff or debuff or anything else with the actual weapon on how it works. And this has been one of my main complaints, like I said, for some time. And quite often I'll see people or will message me being like, hey, look at my stats on this build. And it's like, yeah, but don't use these stats because they're not accurate. It seems that Shin and his team, the people that made this builder, maybe have had enough of me. And they've gone out of their way and made this. This is the current live version, I believe. As it still says up here, beta. I don't know if there is an updated version of this out. But I will leave a link in the description for this so that you can play around with it. Now, just to maybe show a few features, we're just going to add Chameleon back in. We're just going to make the exact same build on this builder. If I can remember how to spell strikers, that would be great. Crit damage is fine. Yep. Backpack, we want Grupo. So hopefully this will just sort of show slightly how some of it works. Annoyingly, we can't actually type, put a letter in here for it to come up with what it is we're actually wanting yet. So again, there are issues. It is in beta. It isn't perfect, but depending on how you want to look at it, it's either better or worse. For me at the moment, I'm using both of these to fully comprehend the builds that I am making. Why is that crit damage at 6? That's weird. Critical hit damage at 6? That should be 12. Can we put 12 in? There we can. Is that at 6? That is also at 6. That's weird. There we are. One of the things that I immediately flagged, despite this build and this build being the exact same, hopefully if we go down here, we've got 57 crit chance and 142 critical hit damage. We come back over here. This screen is telling us 36 crit chance and then 60 critical hit damage. If we move over to the stats, crit damage is 142, but our crit chance is now suddenly 67. So there are issues. You will need to run around and play with it, see what matches, see what doesn't matches, and if you can be bothered, please do leave feedback in the comment section, simply because they are looking for feedback on how it works. This is something that I have already flagged, and they said they're working on it. They're going to potentially fix. There also doesn't seem to be a way to directly influence the Keener's watch. If we move over to the calculator, we have options for the watch at custom, minimum, and maximum. But we don't really get to be able to do anything from there. But then this area does also say it's non-functional, still needs to be implemented. There is a full calculator here for both your primary, your secondary, and of course your pistol. So you can see how all three of your weapons will be working. They have also added a gear talent section here, which I am most interested in seeing how they implement this, so that we can add things in like glass cannon potentially and see how that will influence the build, vigilance, etc, etc. Now there are going to be a few things that are kind of concerning and do require a little bit of know-how. For example, if we want to alter our weapons attachments, learning how to do them is going to be quite interesting. For example, we can actually put boomerang somehow now on Chameleon. So there are things that aren't locked. So now we've got to put adaptive instincts back on. We can directly influence the expertise of something, which is nice. And again, as well the attachments. So when you actually open up the attachments, you actually get this screen, which I think looks quite cool. I feel like those people that are probably a little bit more inclined towards things like Escape from Tarkov might appreciate this sort of look. But again, when going through these, everything is showing. We have like Oxpecker's optics here. So I can now give Chameleon like 50% optimal range. Obviously, this isn't the thing. So when you do give your critiques, please do read through, not fully, obviously, that'd be a waste of time, but have a look to see if like other people have potentially mentioned what you have, and if they have mentioned it and you feel like that is a really big problem, just give it a thumbs up, and hopefully the list will come up in sort of like a priority thing of what you, the audience, the target audience, feels needs to be fixed first. Yeah, luckily we can actually search things to put things back on this. As you can see as well, they are also hopefully at some point going to be updating this with the modifiers, so you can then see how your builds will be performing with modifiers. And one thing that I'm quite looking forward to is making an account so that I can save all of my builds, and then hopefully you guys can like come perv on my builds. Now luckily when we actually want to share builds, we do get the full roles and how everything is actually set up with the attachments, which I think is quite nice. We can even, if we just wanted to, put Lexington in here. Add a Lexington. Let's add Killer. Oh, actually saying that, if we just go back to looking at Lexington again real quick, there does seem to be, on occasion, it seems weapon specific, but if you wanted to add the talent from here, you actively can't for some weird reason. But if you come out and then click on the actual talent icon, you can then select the talent you want, and then from here we can leave it C79. So knowing the actual name of some things is actually quite handy, or at the very least just go for what at least gives you the right thing. The Osprey 0.45 suppressor is obviously just for SMGs, but it's giving us 5% crit chance. So there are things that you can use to get around things. When we go to share, we now have everything there now active, and you can hopefully see the overall build and how it is working. And then again, adding in skills, which is kind of nice. Where's my Revive Hive main? There we are. We have our Revive Hive main charges. We can put some range in there. Add a bit of health. Why not? And then again, going to the share screen shows everything. So it is certainly a different way of looking at it. I'm not sure visually what one I personally prefer. I think this one overall as a build looks cleaner. I just kind of wish this looked a bit more like how this would look. I don't know. I'm a bit weird though. Anyway, that should do it for this video. Hopefully, if you're interested, go, like I said, go give it a play, give some feedback, and hopefully we'll have a full calculator. And of course, by the way, there is a First Descendant section that they are also working on as well. So all of you weird bunny mains can work on your hop to it builds. Anyway, in the meantime, have fun. Good luck. Don't die. Bad for the health.